in case I want to actually look at it.
Right.
What you know about me, bro? Know about me, bro?
And then there's another one that's like 250, but that's
mark, I'ma leave my stain. Better back up, cause I'm bringing the pain. What you know about me, bro? Know about me. Got Supreme hat, Supreme clothes, best breezy. Fuck yeah, so fresh with high class.
All the technology.
You guys are trying to start a podcast too, or?
We already did, but we kind of took a break from it because we moved out of the studio space that we were in.
Oh, it was the same spot, huh?
Yeah.
With him, or?
Yeah. Same, well, some of them, because he shot the October 16 one in there, CJ Ashley in there. We shot some in there. Who is it? Frankie OG, we had him in there.
Yeah.
We had Young Miss in there.
Young Miss and Will Evans. That was the last one we did.
Yeah. So we had a few people in there already.
Okay.
But we just moved out of that spot maybe, this past August.
So that was your spot, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now it's starting to add up.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was telling me he was working in a spot that someone else owned.
Yeah.
So that's you guys, okay.
So now we're out of there now. So now we're just back at home doing our thing. But we were talking about trying to sort of like restructure it so it wasn't just like a sit down conversation.
Yeah.
We've been talking about like Twitch for the longest time. We talk about
like live streaming it, or what do you mean?
Yeah, something like that. Where it's like we're talking, but at the same time it's like we're doing something else too to sort of keep things moving and not just like a regular conversation, because everybody has that, you know what I mean? So you want to make yourself sort of stand out from the rest of the podcast.
That's like the hard thing right now, that since everybody has a podcast, how do you
stand out?
Stand out and become different than everybody else.
And most of it's about the same things. It's like, like what would you do today? Oh, something like this. Oh, they would talk about relationship issues. They talk about like, just different things.
And it's just hard. It's just really hard to like maintain a podcast. Like, I think we got into it thinking like it was. I mean, I'm pretty sure we knew it was gonna be tough, but like how hard it is to just continue it and just keep it going and just schedules and all types of shit. Like it was really, really tough.
And then you got people fucking flaking out too.
Flaking out.
Like you'll have your whole schedule based off this 1 week of this guest, and they're like, "Hey, dude, I can't make it." It's like, well, there's another 2 weeks I haven't posted.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the fucking hard thing. Okay, so you guys make music. You guys also podcast.
Yeah, man. So you'll go ahead and introduce yourself first.
Yeah, I was about to say. Go ahead and
I'm
introduce
CJ
yourself.
Ashley. I've been doing this. I've been putting out music since like 2018, but I mean, obviously, when you rap, you kind of just been doing this your whole life. And I'm Instagram, everywhere. All my shit is on Spotify.
That's what's up, man. And I'm DiiTouR, man. So
DiiTouR.
we started off, we were rapping together, and then around 2018, I was like, man, I got to learn how to produce. So I went and learned how to do that shit. I went into audio production, learned how to engineer, mix, master, everything like that. So I've just been like the everything man for like the past 5 years, and it's been an incredible ride, man.
Yeah, it's crazy being the everything man, because like all that pressure on knowing everything, like kind of like how you're just fucking with the mics and all that, like it comes in handy, but it's also one of those things where it's like people rely on you, where it's like, fuck, I gotta do all this. Like, I wish I could just show up and just make music and have someone else do all that.
Yeah, and we run it. I think in the beginning it was like that. Where just like you want to just like, you hear something, right? Like you hear a record, you hear Kendrick or some sick record, and you're like, man, it makes me just want to rap. But then you think about all the other things you got to do, all the post edits, we got to take out the breaths, we got to work on like, something so simple like that.
You'll get that deep into it when you take out the breaths?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's like, because sometimes like when you go to master it, right, everything gets louder. So like some things you just hear, and some artists are just like bothered. Like some of them don't even care. They'll be like, oh, just keep it in there, it's whatever. But then other people will be like, oh, I don't want to hear that, because like they'll be self-conscious about it. So that's another tough thing that sort of hit me when I became an engineer. It was kind of just working with other artists, and like for me, it's like I like it the way it is, but it's not my song, so I don't have a say in it. It's kind of like what they want. So kind of taking my pride out of it, taking my own artist out of it, and just they want it this way, we're gonna do it that way.
You think it kind of makes it that kind of makes it hard just because you've been working with me for so long? So like in a sense, you know me, you know how I sound, you know, like it's very easy to like engineer for me because you've been doing it from the start. So when you get other artists, does it like make it tougher? Because like the same thing you just said, like, oh, like, yeah, it sounds good the way it is, but they want it a certain way. So it's like you kind of have to do things differently.
Yeah, well, in the beginning, but I'm not so much bothered by it now, just because like I realized that I have to take my pride out of it. And it's like, this is a job, right? This is like, they want me to do something for them. So it's like, let me just make that shit shine, you know what I mean? And just do the best I can. So Now it's not so much, but when they have just like every little thing, luckily I haven't run into anybody like that who's like, you'll make crazy ass changes, right? Just based on their instructions and stuff. And then they'll come back like weeks later, like, hey, so I just listened to this and I don't like it. Like, I've never had that issue. I've heard horror stories from other engineers, and it's like, luckily I've never had that, because most of the people that I work with are hip hop, like they're rappers and things like that. So I haven't recorded any like giant bands where you have, you know, guitars and fucking drums, and you got the lead singer and you got all this other shit. So, and I don't think I want to get into that. I don't want to get that deep. Yeah, I don't want to get that deep into engineering, because like I said, like I'm a songwriter first. So it's like I want to do stuff like that. I want to get my publishing right. You know, I want fucking songs that go on like TV and Kids Bop and all that shit. You know what I mean? To be like, oh yeah, like whoever performs it, I'm still getting paid for it because I wrote the song. So like that's something that sort of gets me excited about music, just the writing aspect of it.
So how do you like work in that field? Where like, do you have to hit up a certain person and be like, hey, this is a song I made, you sound dope on it, or like how does that work when you do songwriting? Because when you're talking about like making a song and then giving it to someone to, you know, make it their own, right? Yeah.
So because I know how to make beats now, I normally like I have the beat too, so it's not just like I have just the words. So a lot of times, just based on the people I know, I'll sort of, and I have people tell me their vibes too when I work with them initially. So like one guy, right? Shout out to Waves. I work with him. He was telling me like these are the artists that sort of get me kind of in that songwriting mood, right? So I take those artists and I listen to what they're about. Is it slow? What instruments do they like to use? And I craft something that sort of gets as close to that as possible. And then if they don't need me, because like most of the people that I work with, very talented writers, so a lot of times they have an idea already. You know, so when they come to me, it's not even like I write their whole song for them. It'll be like, hey, so you know, CJ, because me and CJ work so closely together, they're like, hey, do you think CJ would sound good on this? Or like, do you have an idea for like this hook? I have it started, so I'll help them finish it. But I don't think I've had to like write a song from start to finish lyrically, doing the lyrics for any artist, because most of the people I work with are amazing writers.
Well, that's kind of like just producing right there, because like if you think about it, like if you look at you know, I can't really say the song title name, but like what Young N-Words from you know, Nipsey. And then it had like Puff on the song as a feature. Yeah. But if you ever really notice, like he's really just doing ad-libs the whole time. Right. But it's because like that's kind of the producer side of things, you know, like he's able to go ahead and be like, oh, you know what you should do is that like, you know, try to have this type of energy with the chorus, because originally he wanted him on the track before that, and he wanted to have the Hate Me Now energy. Yeah. And then like Puff was like, oh, dude, you have no idea, like that energy came because we just got the biggest check of our life at that time. Yeah. And we just splurged the shit out of it. Right. So, yeah, that was the energy. But now, like, you know, this is my energy right now. So let me get on this record instead. And then he ended up, you know, going forth with, you know, like, making that track. Yeah. And everyone was wondering, like, it's not a verse. It's like, yeah, because it's an ad-lib. You know? Yeah. That's the thing, like, even producing it's as simple as, like, all right, just raise your tone right here. Like, simple as that is, like, helping producing, right? You know?
And sometimes, man, if you're really curious, if you're really just like into it, there are things like with CJ, for example, right? He'll say he raps verses, right? Does this whole thing. I have this thing where like I don't like to go in and do a lot of like ad-libbing, like, hey, let's work on these ad-libs. I'll take pieces of what you've already recorded in your verses, other takes and things like that, and I'll put it in sort of the song as ad-libs and as things like that, you know, and like and even that's something that's even course that sort of does what you were saying earlier about producing, about like just seeing things that aren't there and putting them there, and just like seeing how that works and seeing how the artist reacts to it when you play it for them at the end. It's like, we didn't even do that. We didn't even record ad-libs, sure. But like you saw that and you put that there. That's like sick. So things
that's
like
always
that.
A blessing when you have someone that actually like pays attention to your music and like works with you and makes you sound better than what it is. Like you, it's dope. I guarantee you already sound good. But once he touches it, it sounds better, you know, right? Like, and just because he knows how to work with you.
Yeah, and that's kind of how, shout out to Waves, that's kind of how we work with other people. Like, I'll talk with a bunch of different artists, and they'll be talking about how their situations ain't good with their engineers and stuff like that. And I'll be like, oh, my bro, like, he got the sauce. Like, if like the stuff that, like, you need, like the little touches, the ad-libs kind of make your voice sound a little sharp here. Just those little things that, like, you need a professional to kind of oversee, and just like sometimes you can get, you know, a little ahead of yourself, or you can kind of think your voice is fine, but then when somebody who's more experienced kind of touches it, you know what I mean? it makes that big difference. So I kind of just brought him to him. So, or technically, they've already worked together.
Yeah.
But then me and him kind of became real cool, and I was like, your situation's kind of messed up. Just come work with us. You know what I mean? Like we got you. And so like, yeah, that's real shit.
So how'd you guys? Oh, my bad.
Oh, I was just gonna ask because like you guys have been making music together for a minute. Like, how was the frustration process? Like, getting the tracks done and all that. Like, you guys ever like just be like, "Come on, CJ, hurry the fuck up," and then you're like, "Man, shut up." You know what I mean? Do you guys don't ever get to those type of levels of things?
Nah.
Never.
I think just because we've been doing this for so long, you know what I mean? Like, we literally started together. Like the day I decided to become a rapper, like he decided it too. So it's like we know how each other works. So it's almost like the complete opposite, to where it's like there's when I come to him and the songs are like for me, right? When we do songs, it's already written, it's already done. I already know what I want to do. It's literally just like, yo, let's record today. We got it, record it, cool. I can just leave it, and then he can do what he does, and I completely trust him. He knows what he's doing. He knows me. He knows how I sound. So then the end results they're just perfect. Like like that's just literally how it's been, because that's just the relationship that we have.
Yeah, and we've known each other longer than we've been doing music.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like we pretty much grew up together. We're like brothers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I know that like there's nothing. It would never blow up to a situation where we're in the studio and he can't get the song and I'm like sitting there talking to him some kind of way. You know what I mean? That would just be out of pocket. So
Right.
that would never happen because like our respect goes so much farther beyond music. So I think that's a big key too about just the chemistry you have with other artists in the studio. And so with other people, like I said in the beginning, you have your own little like internal monologues that you have when other artists are like saying things and you're like, coming off of, some artists, they got day jobs. I'm one of those guys. I got a day job. I ain't ashamed about it. But it's like you come off a work day, you go into the studio, and then somebody's being difficult in the studio. It's like, I could wait.
Can you always tell when someone's just not feeling it and they're just like, hey, like, come back the next day, bro? Like, it's not today,
I know it when they take a long time just to record.
Yeah.
All. Like when you're just like, oh, you mind if I like warm up? It's like, dude, you had all day to do that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? So it's like when they take a while, when the energy just isn't there, like, so say if it is a rap track, if it's like really just low energy, it's not, you can kind of sense it. You could feel it.
Or it's
too.
forced. Because there's been a lot of times where I made a song and I'm not proud of it at the end, but I'm just so frustrated with it. I'm just like, just whatever, just fucking leave that verse. And like, everybody's like, fuck it. Like, he said it, we're finalizing it. We're gonna edit. Not,
Or if they just didn't rehearse it, you know what I mean? Like they're like, messing up their lines and messing up their things,
I was one of those
you know
guys, but I think it's just because like at that time I thought I had to like smoke and like not smoke but like drink up and like do a couple bumps.
No, I feel it.
I'm tired, so I would fucking do a couple bumps, but that was like actually fucking me up.
Yeah.
And in that moment I didn't know. I thought it was hyping me up, like getting me ready and like let's go, like, but then I'm just not in that, like my soul's not in it.
Yeah.
Now I'm drugged up, like I'm not me anymore.
Yeah,
So
no,
it just
for
never
sure.
I don't know. It just never. I never felt it.
No, I know for me, because I have that issue too. Because a lot of the songs, right? Like, especially with writing songs, like I will write songs and we'll record maybe months later, like long ass time later, and then it's like when it's time to get in the studio, it's like, man, I wrote this like 4 or 5 months ago, and I forgot even how the flow went or anything like that.
That's
so like he
fucking
always,
worse, bro.
he always gets on me like whenever he's
my
like,
God.
yo, you gotta practice that shit. And it's like I did when I wrote it, but like now I'm on to some other shit. And so sometimes you like, for me, like we'll have that little moment. It's like, all right, let me kind of. Okay, now I remember how then it's like we can flow and get it done, you know what I mean? But
you know what I started doing was in that moment I'll pull out the voice recorder on my iPhone and just say it, because I'll be like, dude, I forgot. Oh yeah, I recorded it, and I'll pull it. I'm like, all right, yeah, I know how it goes.
Yeah.
Energy is very important. It really is. Like if, sometimes like if you're just leaving the club, you're not gonna come back home and just like sing like a love song. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
I mean, sometimes
100%.
if you're turned up, you might,
shit. Like
there's been times
right
where
when you walk in.
There's been times where I came from like a dope ass party. All of us are turned up, like, put on the mic. We all sit down for like 30 to an hour, write some dope verses, and then we talk about the night, like what happened. And then it was like dope. it was just raw as fuck though. Like I didn't get into like engineering like how you are.
Yeah.
But like I just did the like very basics. Like if you listen to all our old tapes, it's like off of GarageBand and just like as much as we can edit.
Yeah.
Like the little that we knew, and like this is like 2012 like through 14 or something, 15.
Yeah. I mean, in the beginning when we were on Audacity, that first song, like, bro, like, let me tell you how bad it was, right? So like we listened back to those tracks, right?
The old ones?
Yeah, and they're loud as hell because like now we're in engineering, so it's like whenever we get beats or whenever I make beats, right? You bring them in. We would get these beats and put them in the little Audacity, and it'd be loud as hell. So it'd be like already mastered, already like capping out or whatever, and then we would just record over that. So we wouldn't even think to turn the beat down, and then we wouldn't have to be shouting into the microphone. Yep. But like literally, we're listening to these like these beats on Audacity, and then we're literally just like shouting our verses. So now when we listen back to it and like after we rendered it, it's just so fucking nasty.
So how do you fix that? Because I like till this day I don't know exactly like. If the beat's hella loud, how do you get into the like? How do you synchronize your voice with it? Because I always felt like I had to yell too, but then I hear some songs with Kendrick, the beat's loud, but like he sounds smooth with it. How do you mix that together?
Well, a lot of it is just how well you sort of do what we call gain staging. So it's like about when you have, so say if you just had the MP3, right? So you don't have like the different instruments in their own track. You just have one beat. Just turn the beat down.
That's it. Just turn
all
it down.
You have to just turn the beat down, and then when you say if it's I don't know. So like when you have these softwares, right? They measure sound in decibels. So it's like a comfortable number. I think your voice, like as we're talking right now, I think the natural register is around like 14 to 10 decibels of sound. So you would pretty much make the beat somewhere around that or below it. So like negative 18. Negative, whatever, and then when you talk into the mic and you turning your input gain up for your microphone, you'd make sure it comes in at around like negative 14, negative 10, and then when you go to play the beat, it's all fine. And then when you want to bring it back up when you master, that's easy.
Yeah,
because then you can kind of just do it to taste. You know what I mean?
You just put the effects and just kind of like make it sound
exactly.
blended. Okay.
Exactly.
I was a big fan of reverb back then.
Hey man, Reverb's
still popping.
I
haven't made music in so long since like I stopped in like I want to say 2016.
Yeah.
So like I don't know anything about music now.
Yeah, Reverb's one hell of a tool, man. Like I'm gonna tell you, like something that would take something that sounds so dry. Like I'm a big fan of The Weeknd, right? And he's a heavy Reverb user. And like just listening to how he does with it, I'm like, man, like how did he do that? Like I'm sitting here trying to figure it out. And like, I'm a huge fan of it. Like Reverb's the shit, bro.
So when you listen to an album, both of you guys, do you guys like dissect it in a sense? Like you start listening to the lyrics where you're like, damn, this artist he wrote a dope verse here. You're thinking about who mixed and mastered it, like how the vocals sound good right here, the ad-libs, all that created. Do you dissect every song that you listen to? Because when I was making videos, every movie, after I started like watching like movies, I kept seeing the cuts where they fucked up. I it was so weird, bro. I was like looking at it, and I'll tell my girl, and I feel like I was annoying her. I'm like, they fucked up right there. Look, they merged this and that. Like I would start breaking it down.
I just imagine like you got like the scarf on, which they messed up there.
Yeah. Nah, for real. Every
funny,
fucking
bro.
video I started seeing, like I was watching it carefully because I was trying to be bigger and better than what I was on video editing.
Well, I'll let CJ break that one down first because I don't even.
For me, I really don't. I kind of just stay focused on what I'm doing, but I think doing it that way, you can still remain a fan of music and a fan of other artists. You know what I mean? Because like, I don't ever want to get to a point where like music just sounds like, or music just feels like a job. And then when you're just listening to other artists and stuff like that, you just feel like you're picking it apart, or you're just trying to like compare yourself to, you know what I mean? Because you can get lost in that real fast. So, I just enjoy it for what it is. I'm one of those guys who, when I listen to music, I just take in everything. It's just what the artist is saying, what the beat is, and how it feels, the melodies, all those things. So like, I can still enjoy music as a fan. So I don't really dissect it. I kind of, when it comes for me to write my own thing, I just kind of stick to my stuff. And
and in me, I'm sort of like, it depends who I'm listening to, weirdly enough. So like The Weeknd, I do sort of like turn into like that analyzer, you know what I mean? Like, because I want to learn how to do some of the things that his engineer does in his music. But if I'm listening to like 21 Savage or I'm listening to like
you're just vibing out.
Yeah, I'm just vibing out. I'm not even like I'm not paying attention to the drum patterns because they all pretty much sound the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I hate to be the person to say it, you know what I mean? But
Well, let's
like,
be real though. Like Metro Boomin really do have some typical ass beats.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, and it's funny now because like when you see a lot of even like commercials now, they're all using trap beats, and it's like, and even like
I didn't even notice that. Yeah.
like some of like I just noticed like some of them where it's like even when they're it's like I was watching this what was the commercial for? It wasn't even like something on TV. It was like a Facebook ad for like Adobe. It's like, you know how your phone fucking listens to you and shit, and like when you're thinking about doing things, it just like puts some shit.
I hate
you.
it when it does that shit.
Yeah. So
Hey, sometimes it comes in clutch though.
Well, I mean, every time I talked about Bluetooth one time, Bluetooth just started popping up.
Yeah,
Right?
for real, you talking about getting like headphones, like you see these Beats and JBL and all. But yeah, no, like a lot of commercials for like that, like they use a lot of trap beats in it, and it's just like, why'd you even do that? You didn't have to do that.
I definitely see that. I mean, I think I forgot what kind of commercial it was. I think it was like Ultimate by Denzel Curry. It was on that. And I could have sworn maybe it was, what was that? The Kia hamster commercial?
Oh, yeah.
I want to say it was something like that. And I was like, how random.
That's funny.
But you know what? Denzel got a check out of that. I mean, you know, think about it.
Yeah.
How many times has he played?
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah, but it's mainly for like Facebook ads. I haven't watched like TV in a very long time, so I wouldn't even know what kind of commercials they're playing on that. But I can't imagine it's any different than what you see on YouTube, things like that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird, man. But no, now, oh shit, I guess that kind of answers your question, right?
Yeah. Just cause like I always think about it, like I learned so much, so I can only imagine like when I was making music. Like if Kendrick dropped something, or you know, like Absol's about to drop something, I'll be expecting it. Be like, oh man, like they fucking improved on this. They like sound better in this. I gotta be better, you know.
Yeah, I think
they always encourage me to be better, you know.
Yeah, I think subconsciously, like as an artist, I do that because, I think when we first started like rapping and started doing music, it was kind of out of the blue. Like it wasn't like we were just like, man, I want to be a rapper, you know what I mean? But it was like when we started to, like, we kind of just already had that, like, that sauce, like that flavor, you know what I mean? Like, just from everything that we've consumed, just music and just in general. So, like, I think listening to these artists growing up and just the influences that we were, like, you know what I mean, that influenced by, it kind of just, you kind of just already inherit that, you know what I mean? So, I think, which is weird because, like, I got homies that try to rap, that they're like not really good. They just want to like kind of get into it, and they kind of ask me stuff like that, like, how do you like, man, like I don't know, like how you get your flow right and blah blah. And it's like, I don't know, man. I just listen to music, or I just kind of know how to, you know what I mean? It's not something that you kind of teach, I guess. Like I mean, you can, but we kind of just
no, I know.
It's just kind of like you practice. That's the main thing. Like with me, like I suck. Like I swear to God, if I go back, my shit was like I sound nervous. I like everything about it. But my homie Two-Tone Tino, he can just freestyle, bro. Like he had this song memorized of like Christmas that could go viral if he really wanted to. And he would be, we'll be all drunk, high as fuck. Hey, bro, play that fucking Christmas song. And they be like, Santa Claus is here. Like he was just beating on his chest and snapping, and he would just do a live performance. And there's some people that just have it.
Yeah.
Like him, he never like practiced, never did. He just always had it. And he would just be spitting the illest fucking rhymes. The same with my homie Swerve. He'll be doing some crazy shit where I'm just like, man. Like, so when you surround yourself with people like that, that's what motivates you to get better.
Yeah,
because you're like, man, this guy's killing it. It's not like I want to like destroy him. I want to be better than. It's more like I have this friendly competition going where it's like I got to be better, because if I suck on his track, everyone's gonna be like, dude, who's this whack?
Exactly.
You guys are tearing it up, but who's the other guy? He fucking he sucks.
Definitely because I remember watching the Game. He was on Big Boy. And he was talking about Welcome Home, the track he did with Nipsey on his album. I remember he was when he was talking about the name for the album, he was talking about like how he was in the studio and Nipsey was just taking forever, and he was just like, man, why the hell are you taking so damn long? Or like, he was like, hey, not everybody's born to rap like you know what I mean? And I really do feel that way, because like me freestyling ain't me. Like I can't do it. Like I'm the guy with I gotta write everything that I do. This guy, on the other hand, can just freestyle off the top. Like there's just certain people that just have that gift. You know what I mean? And like I definitely feel that, because like yeah, like I got friends who have never wrote a verse in their life, and they're talented musicians. You know what I mean? And just like, I don't know, man. I just kind of have that skill, and I was like, that shit ain't. That's not what I got. Yeah, like, I gotta really sit down and write my shit. So yeah.
You ever been in a position where like you hear someone rapping and then like they're just completely going off and you're supposed to go right after and you're just like,
man.
That I don't. What am I supposed to do here? You know? Like, that I don't really have that.
You don't put yourself in that position. Or
nah, because I'm pretty confident in my pen. I'm pretty like I mean, but I also don't. I remember like starting off. I used to be very competitive in that way, towards like. Whoever I'm on a song with, I gotta have the best verse. I gotta kill this person. I gotta, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then after a while, you just drop that shit because you're just like, well, as long as my shit's tight, then it's like, you know what I mean? I'm not failing anybody. I'm not failing myself. Like, and you can you're with music, man. Like, somebody just might outshine you. They just might have a moment, or like, as long as the song to me is as long as the song is good. I can care less about like who had the best verse and stuff like that. But like, yeah, man, like I can't kind of like that Big Sean and Kendrick moment. You know what I mean? Like with the Control verse, like I can never see myself being like, man, I gotta shelf that verse because this guy like he killed that, or you know, like nah.
Oh, he did, huh?
Or I think he was just saying like he could have, but he's just not that type of artist to do that. But like
I remember hearing that.
But yeah,
something
but like
that. I can't remember.
You know the locker room talk where it's like, oh man, Big Sean, he should have never put that out. He shouldn't have let Kendrick do it. But it's like, look at what it did for hip hop. It was a big moment, and the song is great. And it's not like Big Sean's verse was whack on that either. Like he killed that too. So yeah, man. So yeah, I don't get into all that. I just, as long as my stuff is good, and you know what I mean, I don't feel like I've ever been like washed on a track. So like. That's kind of what I care about. Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of like the last, like one of the big singles that you've been pushing lately was like a Flexin'. Yeah, you're over here like pushing that out. If, you know, like in his defense, he barely heard about you guys today. You know, like, everything about today was just like, all right, cool. I woke up, I'm like, hey, let's do something. Boom.
Yeah,
and
man.
I'm gonna get these guys involved real quick.
I actually like it like that. That way, I'm actually like curious, asking shit instead of like. There's been times where I did so much homework on someone that I tell them something. And I'm like, I already know the story.
Right.
Sit back. Right. But then, like, with you guys, I'm like, oh, shit. So.
Yeah, it's like a fresh take. Yeah, for sure.
With that being said, so, like, when did you guys originally meet? You guys said you guys known each other for hella long.
Yeah, so when I was about 5, his stepmom used to. I think she still does.
Yeah, no, she used to.
Yeah, she used to. She used to run a daycare. And so when I was about 5, I started going there, and like that's where I've met him and stuff like that. Yeah, so we go way back.
You guys are the same age, right?
No, he's.
I'm 2 years older than him.
Yeah. Oh, you're 32?
You know, I'm 92. He's 94.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we met then, and then just kind of just grew up together. Then we had like a 4-year.
Yeah, it was like around middle school.
Yeah, like I kind of like I stopped going to the daycare, kind of just went off, and then we reconnected. And right before, no, I want to say like
found each other on MySpace or what?
No, it's a random ass story. So me and my mom were at Stater Brothers, and we were leaving, and we saw his dad walking in.
Oh no way!
And so like I was like, yo, is that? And mom was like, yeah, that's him. Go say hi. So like went over there, said hi to him, and then he was like, yo, we're having like a little get together on Sunday. Y'all should come through. So then that's when we came over and we reconnected and stuff like that.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Destiny.
Yeah, man. For sure.
Because if you never ran into him right there, you probably would have just kept it moving.
Right.
You know?
Like it would have been one of those things where probably maybe somewhere down the line we like link up on, Instagram or something and shit like that. But who knows? It might not have been the same. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
Yeah. That's dope.
Yeah.
And then
something else.
So that's like when you guys met. So what about like the first time you guys told each other like, hey, I want to rap, and you're like, I want to produce. Like, what was that like? What was that talk like?
Yeah, it was. I think he was getting ready to go off into the military. He's going to the Air Force.
Oh, shit.
And so I think at that time, me and a bunch of other friends, we were just trying to like hang out as much as possible with him before he took off. And I think like the night before, either the night before or like that same week, we were just like, hey, man, let's just like hop on like this little iPod like that his sister had. And we're like, let's just let's record music. Let's just like do a song. And like that song was terrible. Like it was
You guys
trash.
still have it?
I think she still has that iPod.
Maybe.
But I think that battery. I think there's something wrong with it. It's broken, but she still has it. But like it's in there.
Yeah.
We recorded it, and I think he recorded some more stuff on it. And then like when he left, I was like, damn, that shit was fun. But he went off to boot camp. We linked back up when he came down to visit, and then
how many years was that?
That was like. No, that was months, right?
That was in like 2011.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you came back like 6 months later, or
something like that. So what happened? So I left in October of 2011, and then I remember coming home for Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. And what was that like leaving? Were you like kind of like depressed, sad? I mean, it's a big change, you know. You're going to this.
Yeah. No, and that's very interesting because it kind of was, you know what I mean. So it's like when I was leaving. Mm-hmm. I was sort of like I was getting away from. I was going through a lot of things, you know, just like like as a kid.
Already at 18, dog.
Yeah, like as a kid, I felt like I was going through a lot of things. You know what I mean? Like
mentally, life wise.
Yeah, I mean, just like, you know, I had a relationship that ended. You know what I mean? High school was ending, so like a lot of the people that you hang out with the day to day, you don't see them anymore.
Going to different colleges.
Yeah. Like you think like all y'all are just gonna be like friends and like do whatever outside of high school, but it's like now that you got all the free time, they got jobs, I need to focus on getting a job. And I remember just like my old man was like, oh, you got to get a job or you got to like figure something out because you ain't finna just be here. You know what I mean? So I was really thinking hard about what I wanted to do. And then I ended up dating this other girl and like her, and I already have like a bunch of cousins who were in the military, Navy, Army, you know, you name it. And so I was dating this girl at the time, and her stepdad was like, hey, if you're already thinking about going in the military, you should do Air Force. So I was like, all right. So I really thought about it, went to see the recruiter a few times. He was telling me all the things, all the benefits and things like that. And so it just got more attractive. And then you got to think this is around like 2010. So what the recession was 2008. So like nobody was really hiring still. So like I went and interviewed at fucking Cold Stones. I went to Vans. I went like literally everywhere. Yeah, like I pretty much lived at the mall, just like going to every store, like, hey, can I get a job at?
And when you say mall, you're talking about Ontario?
Any like bro,
Just
Montclair
Tyler.
Plaza, fucking Ontario
Gardens,
Mills, like everywhere, and just like trying to figure out like
Inland Center, Inland Empire.
Yeah, like everywhere you go to hang out in high school, like when you go to the mall, everywhere, Zoomies, fucking Hot Topic, everywhere. But nobody was really hiring, so I was like, "Fuck, dude."
Hey man, it's kind of good because you would have been right there making the hot dog on a stick guy. Hey, we want some lemonade?
Yeah,
You know,
actually.
like-
So like, it's funny enough, I interviewed for Cold Stones, right? And so when Cold Stones, they have this thing, they do group interviews at first, so they get everybody in a big ass circle, and they're like, "All right, guys, so you know, tell us your name, where you're from, and like, you know, 2 interesting things about yourself." And they're going around the circle, everyone's saying their names, and then the guy next to me just gets in a full handstand and walks to the middle of the circle.
So fuck.
Handstand, full handstand. And after I saw that, I looked at my friend, my buddy who I brought with me, and I was like, "Yo, let's go." Like we had, because I'm not gonna go after this dude. Hell nah. So I bounced.
I didn't know it was like a talent show.
Dude, I'm telling you this right now, dude. I remember I just got fired from Knott's Berry Farm. And then I tried to apply for Farrell's. And then like Farrell's like this little ice cream parlor, burger spot, whatever. But the thing is, I never been to Farrell's, and what you do there is that like it's always loud, it's obnoxious. They're the entertainment as they serve you food.
Yeah.
So we went to the same scenario. We got into the room, gang of fucking people right there, and then next thing you know, they're like, "All right, you know, introduce yourselves, where you're from," and then they go, "All right, so do exactly as the recording says." All right, they press play. Dude, they had us doing the hokey pokey.
Oh man.
The hokey pokey, bro.
Oh, hell no.
We had to do the hokey pokey.
Oh no.
Dude, I was like, you know what? Fuck this shit, dude. I need some money. Put the right foot in. Put the right foot. I was killing it, bro.
I thought you said you didn't do it.
Nah, fuck that.
That's what I thought he was gonna say.
Hell no. I
too.
fucking committed to that shit
Hey,
real quick.
respect.
I thought he was gonna be
Yeah.
like, I said, I'm out of here.
I
He
even
did it
had the
anyway.
second interview, and they asked me to come back for a second interview. I'm like, okay. And then they're like,
Damn.
oh, well, we could use the ice cream maker. I'm like, I'm not trying to do that. You know what I mean? Like, and then they're like,
That's the deal
That was the
breaker.
deal breaker. He was like, "Fuck that! I ain't making no
dude.
goddamn
No,
ice
because
cream."
like, I did not do the hokey pokey just to stay in the back. Fuck that, dude. If I'm doing
That's
hokey pokey, I want to be a fucking
hilarious.
host or something.
That's
server.
hilarious.
You know. So.
Hey, but I respect that too, because like I'm kind of that way too. Like I don't want to be in the back. Like, I don't want to be a cook. I want to be a fucking bellboy washing dishes. Like, nah, like, put me in the front. I want to be like, because that's what makes the day go by. That's what makes your job fun. If I'm just back there washing dishes, who the fuck wants to do that for 8 hours?
And then think about it like this. You're a single guy in the restaurants and stuff, and you're a dishwasher. Who wants to fuck you? No one. None of your coworkers want to do that. You have to wait till you're a cook, you're making pizzas or something. Then they're like, shit. Oh, hey, what's your name? I'm like, damn right.
Hey, but you could work at Hooters. Because now everyone in the front is a female. So then all the males are in the back doing whatever. So it's like,
only time I ever been to Hooters was actually my dad, after my dad's funeral. We went to Hooters because it was like right next door. We needed some food. And then like our server was like the bustiest girl I've ever like seen working in a restaurant. And then, you know what? I wasn't that sad when I left. You know what I mean?
But yeah, real quick though, with dishwasher, you could move your way up if you want to be like a cook. Like that's what like Anthony Bourdain did. Like he didn't even, I think he started off as a dishwasher and then look, I mean, his legacy's right there. Because I thought about it, I was like, man, because I also heard of my other homie. He works at like a high-end sushi spot now, but like he started off as a dishwasher, then moved his way up to like the main lead chef. And I was like, what? And he didn't plan on it. He's just opportunities happen where people got fired or quit, and then they're like, hey, you want to fucking learn how to do this? You've been right here, like, you know, you're next up.
That's what's up.
And that's cool. And he wasn't even doing anything like culinary school or anything outside of that. He just
no, not at all.
That's really
and then he moved
crazy.
up.
That's
and
really
then
cool.
He at that time when he fucking was getting paid like $20 an hour, you know, 2011. We're like, whoa, that's fucking crazy.
That's crazy. That's high as hell.
Yeah, dude, I remember my first job at Wingstop. I was getting paid $8.25, I think, or $8. Yeah,
I remember them shits.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You guys never been so excited about your first check, like your first full check?
Bro, I'm telling you, look, check this out. So like in the military, right?
Yeah.
When you're in boot camp, they don't pay you like throughout that whole thing. So you don't get a check. You don't have your phone on you either. So you can't check your bank account, nothing like that.
Damn.
So once you get out of boot camp is when all that money that you were earning doing whatever, they give that to you. And my dude, like what you just described, I felt just that. I was like,
that's
oh my
crazy.
God. I was like, I'm rich, bro. Like,
I don't even need how much was it?
Huh?
How much was it?
I couldn't even it probably wasn't even that much to be honest with you, but because of I've never had a more than $500 as a kid, I think it was only because I was only there for 2 months, so I don't know, 1,900, maybe a little under 2,000, but that was the most money I've ever had to my name in my life. So I was like, bro, I'm rich.
So let's go back to when you got there initially, when that 2 month span of you guys not seeing each other. What was going on? You just did a bunch of training. You said they mentioned Air Force. You said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do the Air Force." That you committed to that.
Yeah, I committed to that.
After you didn't want to do the handstand.
Yeah, nah, dude. I saw that and I was like, everyone who was out here too, and I can have we could have a whole different podcast episode when I talk about this employment and shit like that. So I'm not gonna go into all that. But what I'll say is they really did a number on everyone who was out here looking for a job around that time, because you were competing not with just people your age who were just getting out of high school too, but you were competing with everyone who got laid off and all that shit. So you had people that were 2 times your age trying to get the same job that you're trying to get. So it was just so bad. But I'm not trying to get full into detail. It was rough out there. Military, I was I don't have any qualifications. I ain't done nothing. So let me get my chance to do something. And I wanted to travel a little bit. I was I want to see something else. I got to get away from this rut that I'm in, you know what I mean? Where I'm just in this fucking feeling where my relationship's ending, my friends are going and doing their own thing, and I kind of just feel I'm getting left behind. So I was let me just figure something out. And then when I get out, I'll know what I want to do. I'll know if I want to go to college.
Yeah, you'll be still young.
Yeah, I'll know if I want to go to college. I'll know if I want to just do the music thing. I'll know. And then I think midway through, I was yeah, I want to do the music thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You didn't. Okay, I thought you fully committed for 2 years or something.
No, so I was in for 7 years.
Okay.
So, yeah, so from 2011 to 2018.
Oh shit.
Was when the
and
was
so you're telling me within 3 years in there, you're probably I could be doing music right now.
Well, what happened? So while I was in, the first place I was stationed at was Arkansas, and during that time I had CJ come out with me and live out there for a time.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I had a 2-bedroom apartment, $525 for rent.
Damn.
Bro, this was Arkansas, fam, and it's still like that too.
Yeah.
Arkansas is so cheap. But anyway, I was out there and we recorded a whole project out there, on Audacity. So again, we weren't using Logic, Pro Tools, all that stuff. It was literally just, hey, we set up this mic, look just like this, and we're let's record on Audacity. So we did just that. And I think when we did that, I was just there was one track specifically. I think it was You Only Know by Rocco. Oh, yeah. So like that track, I heard us on that and I was like, I really like this. Like I like what we just made because it was like 14 songs that we did. So I was like, we can just do this all the time. And it's something that we really enjoyed doing. And it wasn't like we took a long time to write it. You know, and CJ wasn't even out there with me for that long. Like he came home like during the holidays of that year and never came back. So like the fact that we were able to do that in such a short span of time, I was just like, yeah, like this, it just felt so natural too.
Yeah, and I think with him, right? So like when he was in the Air Force, I was still like a junior in high school. And so like just being around with friends over there who did music at school and stuff like that, I kind of just started practicing on my own. And I remember I used to just like write shit. And I would send it to him, and I'd just be like, "Hey man, what you think of this?"
Oh, just the lyrics?
Yeah, just like, or no, I would record myself, and I would just send it to him, like, "Yo, what do you think of this?" and blah blah blah. And then like he was like, "Oh, that's tight too." And then he would do the same thing, like, "Oh, he would record something, send it to me." And then I kind of had when I finished school, I remember I kind of had that same issue that he was having. Like, okay, well, I went to school, I went to college for a little bit. That shit didn't work out, and I remember just thinking like, well, I got to get a job now, too. My mom had just gotten married at the time. And at the time, me and her husband wasn't getting along well. And he was just kind of like pushing the whole, like, you need to get a job and you need to do this. And so I remember we had like a really big fight. And I remember just telling him about it. He was like, hey, man, well, you can come stay with me. Like, and I was like, I'll think about it. You know what I mean? And then a few days went by, or I want to say like a few weeks went by. And then hit him back up, and I was like, you know, I think I'll take you up on that. I need a little something different, too. He, like, bought the plane ticket that day. He was like, all right.
And this is Arkansas when you went out?
This is when I went out to Arkansas, stuff like that. And so I think at the time when I was practicing and sending him stuff, he was doing the same thing. And then I think that's just when it was kind of starting to, like, brew. Okay. Like, okay, music is kind of... And then when I came out there, like you said, we did like a whole little project, and like even to this day, I'm like, that shit is nice. Like even when like we go back, like it's
raw.
It's poorly recorded, but like lyrically, like we was barring out. So it was like, yeah, this is what we want to do. You know what I mean? Like
so the whole time when he was gone, you were just like writing every day.
Yeah.
Like what motivated you to keep writing? Like you said, you were around other people that were making music.
Yeah, I just kind of caught that bug like right before he left. Like the recordings that we did, like they sucked, but it was a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah. And
so I remember in high school, I had like a bunch of buddies in high school who rap, and like some of them are really good, some of them are trash, and I just be like, you know, I'm pretty good too, but I'm still very shy, and so I just kept it to myself. I didn't, like
I'm the shyest.
Yeah, I'm not the type, like if a cypher's going around, I'm like the last one to go in, or for me, I have to like force myself to go do it, and it's like it's kind of like an out of body experience, like because I'm just not thinking, but like I was just watching them, and then I caught that bug. I would just write by myself, and I wouldn't share with anybody. Like I would just send it to him, and after a while of just doing it, like I fell in love with writing. Confident. You know what I mean? Yeah. Then like. Just kind of getting better with just different flows, and when I just saw how fast I was progressing with it, and he was just right there with me, it was just like, you know what I mean? It was like, bro, what are we doing? Like, this is what we got to do, because like we're just so good at this. And so like when we went to Arkansas, we started doing the music. It was like, yeah, this is what we want to do.
Yeah, and I still have all those recordings. So it's like at times, like for any musicians out there that are watching this, it's like when you feel like you're in the studio and like you're just like not feeling it, or you're just like you're like, oh, you know, I'm not getting the listens I want, I'm not getting the views I want, and you're thinking about quitting. Dude, I've done it several times. Like I go back and I listen to those songs, and you hear about how much fun you're having. Like you can just hear it. Like you can just hear it in the recordings. It's like, man, we're having so much fun, and you just like, you don't lose that. You remind yourself of how fun it is to do what you're doing. You know what I mean? And to answer your question about like getting depressed and all that stuff, I did feel that like early on, just being away from home, because you're thinking about all the things that sort of are affecting you negatively, right? But then you don't think about what's close to you. It's like your family members, having the people that are close to you that you could just reach out to. But just being over there, like you're just by yourself, and you really don't. Like I said, I ain't done nothing when I was a kid, so I didn't really have any hobbies. I'm in the South. I ain't got no friends out there.
Like
everything is
you
unknown.
meet people, but it's not like him. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
like
not
a
the
day
same,
one.
you know
It's
what I mean?
not like people that you really connect with and vibe with. You
Yeah.
just feel like it's in the moment where like
exactly.
we're kind of here. Like I might as well talk to you. You know?
Yeah, and they have their own lives going on too. So like a lot of
they have
like,
their own friends too.
Yeah, like historically it's always been that way. Like whenever I go somewhere to work somewhere, like mainly a lot of the people are older than me. So like they're married or they got kids and they got their own shit going on. So I've never been in a workplace where I have a bunch of people my age that we can just go out and do single person shit. You know what I mean? It's like, so I was just alone. And so like I just remember feeling like just like shitty like all the time. And then the week after, or like when he left, some of that stuff started to come back. But because I had those tangibles, like we had those recordings, I was like, let me focus on this now. So I started doing that.
So that's when you started like getting into like producing?
No. That was when I started taking like music, like this is going to be the career path, right? Because before it was like, it kind of was just like a hobby. You know, like we had a bunch of recordings. We knew we were good, but like in my mind, I'm still thinking like, I'm probably going to be like, you know, I don't know, like a doctor or something. Or I'm probably going to like try my hand at just be like a construction worker. I'll paint the fucking parking lots, do whatever I got to do, you know? But I think at that point, just seeing how much talent that we had and just the ear and all that and how much fun we were having, I was like, yo, like this is going to be a real thing. So I just started focusing on that and sort of the things that I was doing outside of music, like things like just going to the gym and working on, you know, just getting outside more and doing things like that started taking shape too. I started doing a lot of those things. So like a lot of my mental health problems started to sort of go away. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just the more I kept myself busy. Okay. And music does that a lot for me now.
Yeah.
Writing all the time.
So I'm curious. So when he came by, you guys were both writing, right? You guys both recorded. So when did you transition to just I want to produce?
That was 2018 when I got out of the Air Force. Yeah, when I got out of the Air Force, I came home.
You're like, hey, you stick to writing. I'm gonna produce your shit or something like that.
It wasn't even that. It was kind of just like, excuse me, sorry. We were always getting beats off of YouTube.
Yeah. Hey, that was such a bitch back then. Cause like, I mean, I don't know how it is now, but I know back then there was always that tag like, purchase your beats.
That's still
this.
there. Yeah, it's still like that.
Dude, like that. I'll have so many tracks where like, yo, who's the girl that keeps saying that? I'm like,
you should have just been lying, be like, oh, that's one of my knockdowns.
I just tell them because like
right
my
there,
homie's mom was like, who is that girl? And then I was like, nah, that's like the tag. Like
I found her on Tinder.
Tinder wasn't even around at that time, I think.
Found her on Christian Mingle.
I know.
Who knows what was around back then?
I met her on blackpeoplemeet.com.
No, you met her on Craigslist. That's what
Craigslist. I mean,
page.
I think a lot of people at that time were like meeting on like Facebook. Because Facebook came around 2009. Yeah. You know, Instagram DMs were popping. You know, I think DMs weren't even around actually in 2011.
So Facebook DMs because like all you gotta do is like do like the poke thing.
Yeah.
Poke
it's poke
somebody and
Snapchat
then you poke
too.
them back, and when you poke them back, you be like, "That's my cue."
Yep.
That's cute. That's why I always think it's unique that like we're all in the same era where we're in the weird middle where it's like we grew up without internet, but we're old enough to understand internet.
Right. The start of it, how it started.
Yeah, how it started. But like it was just a weird transition because like now the kids, like my brother, he was born 2000, so he kind of grew up always knowing there's a YouTube. Even when he got like at 9 years old, Facebook is out. You know, like all that social media has always been there.
Yeah, I remember when Facebook was just for like college kids and older people.
Because
we were on MySpace.
Yeah, like MySpace was still a thing at the time. Facebook started coming out, and to me, I just thought it was like, oh, okay, cool. This is something I can just have with my family. You know, just all family stuff, whatever. It's cool. And then eventually, everyone started deleting their MySpaces, and then they're like, oh, I'm just if you want to find me, I'll be on Facebook. And then Facebook just became popular.
Dude, I think what happened was all the females that we went to high school with migrated to Facebook because all the females of our generation. And it could have been like that in previous generations, but I just know in my experience, a lot of the females that are kind of our generation were like, oh, I want to date older guys because apparently we're not mature enough, right? So they all went to where the older guys are at, right? They all went to Facebook.
They still say that.
They all went to Facebook, right? So I think that's really what happened. And then just like having profile songs and top 5 friends or top 10 friends just wasn't the wave anymore.
I know, man.
But
that shit was hard.
MySpace was the shit.
That shit was hard.
If you think about it, sorry, I don't mean to go off topic real quick though, but like if you think about it, do anything that we do kind of revolve around what a woman wants or like what they're interested in?
Right.
Because I'll tell you this much right now, like if you know, we didn't have this whole thing to try to impress other women and stuff. Probably most likely we'll be dressing funky all the time. We'll be like messy hair. We'll even shower for a couple of days. Like you know, like let's be real here. You know
you know what's crazy though? It's like I guess when you really think about it, you don't really have to do those things to like impress women, because like we don't have to chase. It's in my personal philosophy, like,
well,
I don't
if you
chase.
smell, they're gonna run away.
Right. But what I'm saying is, like, say like, and obviously, like, I think for myself, I would want to be clean. Like, I'm not out here just fucking stinking, being musty. Yeah. But I'm talking about just like the cars and like, you know, trying to sort of like put on a front. Like, you don't have to do those things. And I think when you move with just like some confidence, that you can be driving a fucking, you know what I mean, like Nissan Sentra from '96, and I think you'd be all right. You know
I feel
what I mean?
attacked.
Yeah, but like I feel it. Like back in the day, we didn't really know that. Like, you know, society kind of tells you gotta have to have these things, and that's what women want. You know what I mean? It's one of those.
Yeah, and like in other men that sort of got women using those tactics, we idolized. You know what I mean? Like the 50 Cents. You know what I mean? The whole G-Unit movement, the Dipset movement, the Jay-Z and the Rockefeller, like all the guys that we were seeing getting all the women. You know what I mean? Because of, you know, we thought it was because they had spinners on their car, you know what I mean? Like, we thought that's what we needed. So then we just all kind of lockstep agreed that, hey, we need nice stuff to get nice girls. And that's how
you know what else kind of like died off too is that whole image of being hard. Because think about it, in that era, like everybody's like, they had to be hard. They had to be like this image. Everybody's like, oh, he's a thug, he's a gangster. You know, I always felt like girls love that. But then like the older we got, that's no longer like the like. What are you trying to be hard now? Like a lot of people kind of like judge on that now.
Yeah, now men do that for other men.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
You know what I mean? Like if we're like, say we're in a club, right? Or we're really anywhere and we're having an argument, whatever. One of us is gonna like always take it there, like, yo, so what are you gonna do, man? And we really just do it for our own shit. We don't do it because there's females watching, because if we win this fight, we're gonna get females.
Yeah.
No, I'm acting this way because I need you to know, or I'm trying to convince you that I'm tough. So like now guys just want to be hard to let other dudes know that they're hard, which is like, why would you do that? Like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's fun times, man. Fun times.
Fun times.
Holy shit.
So it just shifted, man. It's weird. It's like everybody wants to. I feel like now it's like, I don't want to feel like I'm attacking anybody, but I feel like with that kind of being hard thing, it's sort of shifting now to like, now it's just how much trauma do you have? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, in a sense.
Or like, how many mental illnesses do you have? Or can you convince people that you have? Like, oh, I had a hard life. Who hasn't had a hard life? People just want to talk about what happened to them as kids, or like, you know what I mean, what other people put them through, you know what I mean, is growing up in life as young adults. And it's like, I feel like everybody, at any chance they get, they throw those stories at you.
Exactly.
And like, that's how they try to like get other people to sort of like accept them.
And feel bad for them in a sense.
Don't you guys hate it when people try to one-up each other's trauma story?
That gets me.
That dude, I remember this one chick was like saying like, oh, you know, like, my dad, he wasn't really in my life like that, you know, like he would just do off, and like I wouldn't see him so often. I'm like, yeah, I feel that, you know, like my dad, you know, he was on drugs, and then, you know, I lived with my mom and this and that. He goes, well, my dad sold drugs and sold women. I'm like, okay. Yeah, my dad didn't do that. My dad did go to the county for, you know, like, you know, for Grand Theft Auto, and she goes, my dad went to prison for armed assault or something like that. And I'm like,
it's like, why are you doing this?
It's like halfway you're just realizing like, oh shit, like, are we competing? Like,
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? It's like, well, one time I stepped on a Lego. Okay, what did you know about that?
Just being that petty,
shit,
having that mark on your face, going to school with that. That's comedy, bro. That's comedy.
So going back to, I'm still tripping out though. I didn't know you went to the Army. So
Air Force.
Mm-hmm. So were you like flying and like doing all that, or what was that like?
Nah, man. So like, all I did was, I was like the computer guy, man. So like, when you go into the military, like a lot of people just think that like, all you do they just give you a gun and tell you to go out there and do the damn thing. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I
and like, you know,
did you think you were gonna do that?
At first,
I thought he was.
At first, I did think I was gonna do that, because like that's what all the movies show, right? Saving Private Ryan, you got the Hurt Locker,
Black Hawk Down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They got all these movies that just show the dudes that are badass out there sniping motherfuckers from across the damn thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I come in, I'm like, oh, what can I do? And what they do is they give you a test. They pretty much, and it's categorized across 4 different sort of general subjects, right? So like mechanics, electronics, shit like that. And you take that test, and like whatever you score the highest in, that's sort of how they filter out your jobs, right?
The ASVAB, right?
And they're like, yeah. And they're like, you can.
If you fucking score like a certain score, like where you're saying some many shit, you're like, all right, you're the army. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. So like, it's luckily it's not a written test. You don't have to write anything out. It's all multiple choice. So like, you do that whole thing, and then if you score high enough, if you score like really low, then yeah, you can't get in the Air Force at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I scored high enough in certain areas where it's just like, all right, so you would be able to go into the Air Force, and these are the jobs that you would qualify for, that would probably be best suited for sort of your scores. And so I just picked the one that looked the best. I think I got firefighter for one. And I was like, I seen firefighters do their thing on TV, and that shit don't look, that shit ain't the way for me. I ain't trying to be out there doing that.
Yeah.
And then they had like all these other like electronic related jobs. And so I was like, you know what? Let me try that out. Cause like I've never been like big into computers, since like I said, we grew up, or like you were saying earlier, we grew up before like internet. You know what I mean? I still remember like the square Macintoshes, you know what I mean? Where you had the floppy disks and all that stuff. So like I was like, let me sort of get back into that. Let me see what that's like. So I did that, and that was what I ended up doing for the whole time I was out there. But I did end up deploying to like Afghanistan, and I did like have the whole thing, the whole get up the body vest and all that stuff. So yeah, I did do that for 6 months. That was pretty cool.
But you said that was like your only job until you end up leaving the, well, yeah, common sense. Yeah, that was your first job.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my first job.
And then CJ, what would be like your first job?
I worked at this place. It's like this warehouse job called Inland Postal.
Inland Postal.
Yeah, and it was just, you just sit there in this little it's like this, it's really weird. So I signed up for a temp agency, and they had they were just trying to find me a job, and then they signed me up for this job where it was like, you're going to be a packer. I was like, all right, cool.
Oh shit.
It's very simple, right? But when I got there, they were like, no, we don't need a packer. We need a mechanic to fix this big ass machine, like that keeps breaking down. Right? And I was like, oh well, no, that's not what I signed up for. Like I'm and they're like, oh, don't worry, we'll teach you how to do it and stuff like that, and then that's what you'll be doing. And I was like, all right. And like, I am not handy at all. Like, not even like, I couldn't tell you fucking tools apart. Like, I'm not handy at all. And so I was like, all right. But so for like, I want to say 3 or 4 months, I just sat beside this dude, and he just like trained me on it and just taught me. But I wasn't paying attention for shit. Like, for me, it was just like, I'm just getting paid to just walk around and just watch this dude work.
Yeah.
So like, I just did that, and then I remember one week, I think he was on vacation, and they were like, all right, yeah, you're here, like you've been training on this for 4 months, go ahead. Like, and I was like, I don't know shit. I think halfway through, I just left and just like, I quit. I just quit like halfway through. I was like, yeah, I was like,
but
yeah, I was
do you, in your defense, do you think he trained you wrong, where he just made you watch him? Because I feel like I'm more hands-on. Yeah. If you tell me to watch you, I'm like, I'm watching you, but honestly, I don't give a fuck. But if you make me do it, okay, now I know how to do it.
I think he did a little bit of both, but when I tell you, like being a mechanic is just not for me. Like fixing shit, I don't have the patience for it. Like I just don't have. And like he was just telling me, I remember like while he was training me, he was just like, yeah, man, like a lot of this time, like, you know, there'll be a problem, and like you just got to figure it out. You just got to, you know, try different shit and try to make shit work. And I'm like, this is for somebody who really loves doing this shit. Like I don't. Like this ain't my area of expertise.
I'm
like
a rapper.
Right. I was like, I don't care enough about this. I was like, literally, I'm just trying to find like the easiest job for me.
You're over here like listen. I'm not Eminem. I'm not B-Rabbit, okay?
Right.
He did the heavy machinery shit.
Right.
It's not for me.
I was just like, I can't do that shit. Funny. So I was just like, yeah, man, I'm gonna have to bounce. And like, it's funny because he didn't warn me or anything. He just went on vacation. They're like, all right, you're good, you can go. So I was like, nah, man. I on my lunch break, I just left, didn't come back. I just told them like, yo, this ain't for me.
Dude, they still waiting for him to come back.
But like, I did like just a bunch of jobs, and like, it just, I never stick to a job. Like, I feel like it's funny because when he would leave, right, when he left, like it was kind of just trying to figure out, okay, well, what am I gonna do in the meantime? Like, I need to find a job. I need to work in help my mom with bills and stuff like that. And I feel like I would find a cool job for me. I would stick with it for a while. And it's funny because like I remember telling him about this. Like he would come home on break, right? And he'll come for like 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. When he comes, everything shuts down. Like I don't give a fuck what. We're just hanging out with him for 2 weeks straight. We're doing whatever the fuck we want to do just to spend as much time as possible. Fuck a job, fuck anything else. I don't give a fuck, right? So like.
And when you say we, is it family or like other homies
his sisters, like other friends of ours, like. We used to have like a pretty
it was like a solid group of like 5-6 people.
Yeah, and so like it was always like that for us. It was just like when Steve gets back, when DiiTouR gets back, we're all kicking it. Like, and so it was always around that time anyway. Like it seemed like it was just like whenever I was getting sick and tired of a fucking job, that's when he came home, and it was like fuck this job. I'll find another job when he fucking leaves. I never like had like a stable job until like 2018, until like he came back, and then that's when I found like a. But it was always the move to just like I would stick with a job for a while and then like I'd get bored of it and I'm like I don't want to do this shit anymore and I would just leave and just try to find something else because like I think kind of like what he was kind of going through. I was just like after school like I think I never really had a plan on what I wanted to do after school, what I wanted to be. Like I just wanted to. At first, I wanted to be in the NBA. I wanted to play ball. Like I was, I'm nice.
Tough, yeah.
I'm nice when it comes to basketball. I'm still. I feel like I am, but like, I'm just not as fast as I used to be. But I'm still pretty nice. Mm-hmm. Like, but
what position did you play?
I played point guard and 2 guard.
Okay.
Like that was, but I was mainly a scorer, so I just played 2 guard for the most part. But yeah, like I got hurt a lot, and in high school. I would get these really bad injuries, and I would never take care of them. I would just play through them.
Damn.
And it kind of just fucked me up in the long haul. And then plus, I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'9", 5'10". And so, like, NBA was just out of the question. And I didn't want to do anything else. But as kind of like that dream was dying, that's when I started to kind of get into music. You know what I mean? And so, like, I always told myself, and even to this day, I still feel this way, like, music is what I really want to do with my life. This is the passion. This is what I'm doing. I don't want anything else to overlap that. Like I'll find a job or I'll have 2 jobs that will support that, but that's the real move. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't like I work at UPS
right now.
And like right now. And like there's a lot of people like, why don't you just go driver? Why don't you do this? But it's like those are 10, 12-hour shifts all day. You work on the weekends sometimes. So it's like anything that like I like my gig now because it's short, like the hours are perfect, and it's for me to just do my music whenever I want to do it. And so like I never stick to that.
And that's very important too. Like a lot of artists feel like they sort of lose sight of that. Like like CJ, right? He has it right where it's like he knows what he wants to do. And then he sort of plans his life around that. Where it's like, I want to do music. But then a lot of people will just get so focused on, oh, I got to get a better job to the point where they may work, 12, 14 hours, right? And then they'll feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough with my music. Yeah, dummy, because you did it backwards. Like you're supposed to do music first. Because at the end, like that's where you're trying to get your bread from, right? That's going to be your passive income when you get royalties and when you eventually do your thing. But then they'll pass up a lot of opportunities musically. Because like, oh, I gotta work. What are you doing? Like, why? Like, why are you're doing it backwards? Like, if anything comes up with music, you go. Like, that's it. Like that has to be the long run. You don't want to sit here and talk about what you're gonna be doing. Like, oh yeah, I'm probably gonna be there next year. No, you won't. Like, hopefully you're putting the work in so you can leave this shit.
Yeah, and it's hard sometimes, because like you sacrifice a lot. You know what I mean? Like you sacrifice going to the club, partying with your friends. You sacrifice relationships. Like if you get into them, you know what I mean? But you kind of just have to know what that main goal is. You know what I mean? Like, this is what's going to carry me. And like, kind of what he said, like, when he gets depressed and, like, you go through those old... For me, music is just... It's always been fun. I've always loved doing it. And it's one of those things where it's like... Whether I make money off of it or not, I'm always going to be doing this shit. Like, it's just... It's what I do. It's what I love to do. So, I can't see myself, like... getting married, having kids, having a family and all that stuff without really giving this a full go. Like, obviously you'll get to a point or get to an age where it's like, all right, this is probably, I need to start kind of pivoting, but I'm young. Like, this is the time to do it. You know what I mean? So like, you got to sacrifice a lot of that bullshit or a lot of that fun shit that you want to go do, but yeah, man, you gotta do that.
Yeah, and you gotta take responsibility. Like I kind of see it as like your whole life's a documentary in the making. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna make it to the end of your life, you know, in your 60s, 70s or whatever. And when they're doing the whole, like you see the whole thing now, right? What the Lakers are doing, what they just did with The Last Dance, with all these documentaries, and you sort of like, you look at people in your life, you know, like I look at Tony, I look at CJ, I look at, you know, all these guys who you would think that like, oh, what are they gonna say about you in that documentary? Like, are they gonna be saying like, yo, like there's this time that we did this, that, and the third, and like he still was able to do so and so, you know what I mean? Or like,
Tony got on my goddamn nerves.
Or are they gonna be like, yo, I tried to tell him, but he always had an excuse. You know what I mean? Like he just made excuses. So I do think about that a lot. We're just like, man, like when you make it to the end, like, are you gonna be that dude in the end looking like Scottie Pippen, all bitter, like, oh, like if only I had these opportunities, if only people would have gave me a shot, or if only I would have did this? Or are you gonna be like, look, I had the odds stacked against me, because you look at the numbers, there's like whatever thousands of numbers of songs that are uploaded on Spotify every day. And so you get afraid, you think that like your song's just gonna get lost in the shuffle, but no, yours can be the one that breaks through all that, you know what I mean? But when you stop making music, you know, you can't win a game that you don't play. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to play to win. So just get in it and just don't stop. Be consistent. You're not, look at this in the beginning, this is gonna feel like a job. You know what I mean? Where you're coming in, you're clocking in, you're making all these songs and all that, and maybe none of them aren't going viral at getting the visibility that you want, but it only takes one. You know what I mean? We know Lil Nas X from one song, right? We know that one, what's her name? Olivia Rodrigo from one song. You know, we know
Jenny 69.
Yeah, we know some of these people. And look, one song.
Shout out to Riverside.
And one song is all it takes. And when you hear that one song, you find out later that, oh, they have all these other songs that they did.
The catalog,
Yeah. So what were they doing when those other songs were new?
Yep.
They were struggling. They were working day jobs. So just do that, because as you keep making songs, you're only going to get better. So. Yeah, no, I feel all
2
that.
Chainz was Titty Boy, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He had to rebrand himself like twice.
Signed to
And
Ludacris.
I think he got famous, like probably 35, 40? Like, that's when he, like, really sparked.
Yeah,
sure.
Something like that.
He went to Harvard. You know that?
I didn't know that, no.
Are you serious?
He went to Harvard.
Yeah.
2
Like-
Chainz was in Harvard before
what?
he became famous in rapping.
But he like graduated and all that, or you just like
Harvard graduate. I don't know what for though, but like I heard about that. I'm
Probably
like, yo,
smoking weed, man. He gets high as fuck now. I've been seeing the shit that he
if
smokes.
you
I'm
have a
like,
degree,
damn.
I think you can do
man.
anything you fucking want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, you know, like except a few things. You know, don't do heroin. But like, you know, like, but if you're like, you got the degrees in and shit, dude. Hey, smoke all the weed you want.
Well,
man.
that's why he graduated Harvard.
Yeah,
like,
he's
from
one
smoking
of
weed,
those.
you know?
Yeah, he's one of those prime examples too, because he rebranded himself 3 times. Like
Yeah.
first he was Titty Boy with DTP and Ludacris and all of them, and then he went to Players Circle. You know what I mean? And did the duo thing, and then he became 2 Chainz. You know what I mean? So it's like those guys who don't stop. You know what I mean? They find a way. They break through. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
everybody, Griselda.
yeah, man.
Dude. Who's that? Oh, fucking even Danny Brown.
Danny,
Yeah,
Danny
man,
Brown.
just a gang of people that like, you know, that been doing it for like over a decade and finally getting recognized and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
It just sucks because especially now with everything going up, like you start thinking like, should I get a good job?
Yeah.
Like I'm in
you know
that
what
spot
I mean?
right now where I'm like, should I get in a trade? Like I'm not gonna lose my this is what I want to do. I want a podcast.
Yeah.
This is why I want to make my money, all that, just like how you. That's why when I talk to you guys, I remember being like that with my music. Especially with you, I can relate with you a lot. Being that circle with people like ready to rap, I'm like, fuck, am I next? Like I'm trying to remember one of my verses. Like, all right, I got it.
Yeah.
But like, it's just weird because in life, you could just go 100%. But then it's like, there's always in the back of your head, like, what are the odds? Like, it's scary,
I mean,
bro. It's
yeah.
fucking scary, dude.
What are
Like,
the odds?
because like at the end of the day, like you could waste 10 more years trying to make music, and then like you're like 40,
Yeah.
and then you're thinking like, fuck, should I get a trade? Like
Yeah.
you know, like
Honestly,
like,
yeah,
and that's a scary thing, bro. Because I'm in that position.
Yeah, but
right
then
now.
you ask yourself a question, like, what would you rather have? Like, assuming you start, like, you know, when you're young, right? So let's say it's when you're 22, right?
Mm-hmm.
would you rather like have 10 years go by, right, of you making music, you not quitting, you know what I mean, and then in those 10 years one song does catch fire, right, and then all of a sudden the world knows you, your whole life changes.
Exactly.
Right? Or would you rather give up music, right, and then work your little, go up the corporate ladder, get to where you want to be in 10 years, but then be like, always have that what if. You know
that's
what if I would have did that? And you see other people that didn't stop when you were making music, and they're kind of where you saw yourself to be if music was still your career path, right?
Exactly.
And you see them going on tour, and you see them, doing all these things and having however many millions of followers on Instagram. It's like, man, if I wouldn't have stopped, right, would you rather live with that thought for 10 years?
Yeah. And that's where I'm at right now. I hate living in what ifs. I just act.
Just do it. And
Nike. Just do it.
And if you plan your life around what you want to do, you can have both.
Yeah. I think for me though, like I had to have that question with myself early on. Like because of that, I thought the same thing. Like I don't want to chase something and then all of a sudden it's too late for me to I'm 40 and then I don't have my shit together. That's one of the things that like I had to like ask myself early on, like, okay, well, what do you really want in life? Like, do you want to be married one day? Do you want to have kids? Do you want the house and live that, the kind of the normal life? You know what I mean? It's one of those things where I had to like really sit down and just be like, to be honest, I don't really want that. Like, and it's like, of course you can say that now, but you might change your mind later on in life,
Right.
But like, as time went on, like it was just one of those things where it's like, I really love this music shit, and like I really want to do this, and it's one of those things where it's like, when you hear yourself on a track, when you hear music, when you hear shit that you do and you put it out, and it's like it's kind of like it's like ecstasy, you know what I mean? It's like, man, my God, like I have music that's out for, you know what I mean? Like, who cares how many people hear it? Like the fact that it's out and like I'm proud of it, I feel good about it. Like it's a feeling that I can't escape. Like it's something that like I will put that feeling over anything else. So it's like I've had that talk with myself. Like, well, do I want to get married? Like every time I'm talking to somebody, like it's one of those things where it's like, do I see myself with this person? Like, or is she gonna understand where my real love and passion is for? Like, is it worth even engaging in shit like this? Like, I really had to have that conversation with myself, and music wins every single time. You know what I mean?
But do you feel like if you could have someone that understand you and eventually get married and have kids, and they're supporting you the whole way, could that happen too? Or it's just like you're like, fuck, that'll still be in the way?
I feel like with Steve, like I would be able to have both. If she understood, like,
you're like, hey, babe, Steve's in my picture, so he comes first.
Hey, he's gonna be in town for 2 weeks, okay? So I don't give a fuck about what you gotta say. Fuck them kids.
Take care of those kids.
Well, I'm not in the military anymore. So now I'm here forever. Yeah, I'm here forever. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm always gonna be doing this. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, like I'm gonna go out and perform like on a, like if there's a talent show, or if there's something to be doing, like a show that I get to perform Wednesday night, or that's what I'm doing. Like, or if I'm recording this weekend, I can't hang out. Like, this is what I have to do. Like, we'll find some other time. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, this is going to come first. If you are okay with that, then yeah, I don't mind, you know what I mean? But if it becomes a problem where, you know what I mean, we're arguing or it's not, then it's like, we got to make that, we got to have that talk. So I feel like you can have both if that other person truly understands, like, well, what I need to be for him is his support system. Yep. I need to be able to be there for him whenever he's doing this, or, you know what I mean? And like, understand that this is what he's doing. This is his passion. I can coexist with that and not be like, have it all about me. And then it's like, when I get to that point, when I get to where I want to go, then it can be all about us. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, somebody young isn't going to understand that. Like a woman in her 20s isn't going to understand that, or they're not going to. So you run into that where it's like, yeah, you talk to somebody and they're like, yeah, of course. Like, I understand. Like, I can be supportive. I can do that. And then a month in, they're like, well, how come we don't spend enough time together? You know what I mean? So it's like,
I hate that shit.
You know what I mean? Right? So it's like,
I hate that shit.
It's one of those things where it's
Speak
like,
on it. Speak on it all. Speak on it.
Hey,
I can't
say it louder for the people in the back right now.
Like, for real. And it's like, oh, well, you know, I can't text you all damn day because I'm working on this, or, you know what I mean? Or like, it would be dope to have somebody that's like, while I'm working on this, like you can come, like I'm not gonna be like, you can't come to the studio or you can't watch me do this. Like come along with me, like do all this with me and stuff like that. But it's hard to find people like that, so I kind of just don't engage in it.
This is why we need to bring like a woman, or I'm not gonna do the PC like terminology, like females, women, whatever. But we need to have a woman to come in here and share like her thoughts on this whole thing, because we're all dudes.
But it needs to be like, we need women, like we need them from like different age groups, because like some of them, they prioritize certain things above others, right? So like an older woman will be like, I would like you to be emotionally invested, as opposed to a female who's like in her 20s, a young girl, she'd be like, oh, like you need to be making that bread. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, of course. But at the same time, it's like okay, cool. When we bring a woman in here, it's like we're able to really debate and see if we can even try to get some kind of understanding. Even if just with that one woman alone, someone can have the same views as that same woman speaking,
right? And
then they can actually get caught up, and it makes them like, you know what? Maybe I should really take a step back.
So we need one woman ambassador. So we're calling on the internet, whichever camera I'm supposed to be looking at. Hey, a woman ambassador needs to come over here and be ready to speak for all women in the world.
Yeah, it's funny because I had a friend, a female friend that she was dating somebody who was going through that, and I remember she had asked me like, yo, like what is my role in this? Like, what can I be for him? Like, you know what I mean?
A groupie.
Right. Groupie. But I mean, that can be one. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I just kind of told her like, yeah, you just need to like support him. Like you don't need to. You got to understand that like he cares about you, he loves you, but his priority is this. And so you can't take it personal. Like none of that shit is personal. Like when he has to go out, and especially if you really love somebody, you really vibe with that person, you would rather spend all your time with them. But you gotta go do these appearances. You gotta go do these shows. You gotta go meet up and do podcasts and do stuff like this, because this is what's going to further your career and what you want to do. Yeah. And like you can't take it personal when we have to go do this, and sometimes you got to be in the back. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where I just kind of had to let her know, like, you got to be that support system. You got to be that peace and that calm. Like, he's already going through a lot. He's already competing with all of these other people. Yeah. He's already stressing on, you know what I mean? Like, if you're running a podcast, you got to have certain guests on and they can cancel. Like, you got to go through all this stuff, or you got to finish an album by this deadline. You got to work on, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like, he's already stressing. Don't add to that stress. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's
I think. Oh, were you?
No. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think communication is just the big thing. Like, as long as you said it from like, I'm with my girl. I've been with her for like, I mean, technically 3 years if you really want to get technical. But I tell her everything. She's like fully supportive, and I think that's why I'm loving this, like, because I've never had someone that's like, go do your thing.
Right.
Like, she pushes me. So I'm like, okay, like, when I hear that, it just motivates me more to, like, okay, like, let's make shit happen, you know?
Yeah.
Because I can only imagine I've seen other people's relationships, and it's all about them. Well, you're going to go with your friends, you're going to... I was like, oh,
sorry, trigger trauma.
Okay. I was like, they can see you on the camera.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Dang, all balls against communication. Let's put that on record.
Oh no,
communication is a big thing. So like, I feel like if she won't be able to communicate and understand, then it's like, all right, like, let's just be friends. Like, let's be cool. Like, I'm gonna do my thing, you know. But once you find that person that understands and keeps understanding, of course, we're all human. We're all gonna fight over stupid shit. Maybe that day you're gonna do something like, fuck, I wanted to hang out with you this weekend. You're gonna fight, but then next week it's like, I'm glad you're still doing it.
Right. And it's like you said, like it's like you said, like with, when you find that person that really supports you and it makes you work harder, it makes you be like, well, let me hurry up and get this shit done so I can come back. Yes, you know what I mean? So it's like you want that ride or die, but when you have it, you want it, you do whatever you can to hold on to it, but you got to understand that this is the priority. Yeah. So you got to tell them, like, if this is too much, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want you lingering around when you can find somebody that fits what you want. You know what I mean?
100%.
So,
100%.
Well, let me ask this question real quick. Because I know there's highs in your guys' careers and what you guys got going on. What are some of the inconveniences that happen while you're in this type of business, such as bad networking or just like fallouts, some things that weren't upheld, or even like mistakes you guys have made. You know what I mean? Like what are some of those things that the listeners can be looking out for?
I think just like life, you know what I mean? Just shit happening to where you have to just put family, just things that pops up and you can't get to what you want to do, you know what I mean? Just stuff like that. That can be the biggest inconvenience especially when you're locked in on something. Because I remember when we were working on my second project, Flex. We went hard for 2 straight weeks, 3 and we were just moving, and then just personal shit just started happening, and then it was we had to take a break from the project, and it kind of just kills that momentum, you know what I mean? But other than that, I don't really think we have, or I don't have anything that really blown up or just stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I guess 2 things come to mind. One is just information, just one of the hurdles that do come from working in any sort of not just music, but just I imagine people trying to be actors, podcasters, things like that. Just information, you always want to be doing better, and always learning how you can do things better. But just people who have done it longer than you, or people who may have just the right information that you need to take your shit to the next level, they're really reluctant to share it. Mm-hmm. So networking becomes a problem because everyone will preach it oh, you got to network, but you're networking with your competition. So it's not this person, if you're a rapper and I'm a rapper and I'm coming to you and I want to network and all that stuff, it's not you're going to help me get to the next level where I want to go, because that's where you want to be. So you're not going to share everything with me. And maybe I'm the same way. I'm not going to share everything with you, but you would like to think that everyone operates in good faith in this industry, but they don't. Some of them are just it's self-preservation. It's I want to make it to the top, which that's the mindset that you need to have, because it's already low percentage of you even getting there in the first place. So why shouldn't you be selfish in that regard? But the fact that it in some cases realistically speaking, it can't be that way, where we can all elevate. It's just not realistic, because not everyone's gonna make it at the same time. So that's one that comes to mind.
That's something I've thought about, because I'm not from around here, so I thought maybe if I come here and interact with everybody and be featured, make a song with you, make a song with the guy in LA, San Diego, always do collabs. I always thought will that help me get to the spot I want to be at? Because in a sense, podcasting, I'm meeting new people, right? Now that I'm doing this with you guys, your guys' fans are gonna know me, my fans are gonna know you. Right. So if you do that with music, isn't that the same thing? But then now that you said it that makes it a little bit more sense. Because I always thought well, if I got back into rapping, I'm just gonna collab with everybody.
Yeah, I think it kind of, it's kind of both sides of it, because that can help you as well. You know what I mean? I feel when we first got into it, when we first started really putting our stuff out and then started to mingling with people. We kind of ran into a lot of people who will talk a big game, yeah, man, I produce, I do this, I do that. Then when it comes time to work with them, they're nowhere to be found. A lot of the times, when he I think a big reason why he became a producer was because when we came out and we were trying to get things done, we would link up with this person. This person would be yeah, for sure, I do this, I do that. You can hit me up and we'll work. I'll send you beats, we'll do this. And then it's you call that person, nothing. We don't hear anything from that person. And then we just kept running into that problem. And then he was just well, fuck it, I'm just gonna go to school and do this shit myself. And then you're gonna rap, and then you know what I mean. And then also with people when especially for me, right, working with other artists. One thing I've noticed, right, when I was working on my first album, I would reach out to people and stuff like that, and they would come, they would send verses, or I think on my project I only have 3 rappers on it, 4, and so it would always be yo man, this was dope, we should link up, we should work on more stuff. I'm like, yeah, for sure, definitely. He was like, yeah, what do you have? Like, let me hop on your stuff. And it'd be like, okay, well, I don't really have anything right now. Like, I just finished this, so blah, blah. What do you have? I don't really have anything right now. And then, like, they drop a project next week, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I want to be on your stuff because I want your fans, or I want to do features on your stuff, but I don't really want you on my stuff. So it's like, it's one of, I've noticed that a lot. So
yeah, like nobody wants to seem like thirsty. You know what I mean?
Right. And me, I'm just somebody who's like, I care about the record. And like, if I meet you, we hang out, we got a good vibe, I like you, then it's like, yeah, I want to work with you, but not to sound cocky or anything, but like, I'm fine with just making music on my own. I'm fine not having features or anything like that. I just, if I want to work with you, it's because like I fuck with you as a person. You know what I mean? So it's like, let's work together. But like a lot of like you said, a lot of the times you try to network with people, and then it's like they kind of only do what they want to do, and then like link up with you when they need you. So it's like,
or they're kind of just, or they just like, and I understand, like I don't hate on anybody for this either, but just like, or they're just too focused on like the money. You know what I mean? They're just like, oh, if I'm gonna do a feature, it's gonna cost this much for a feature. But it's like, bro, like who are like? And the same thing for beats. Like, oh, for an exclusive beat, I charge $500. It's like, bro, you're not Timbaland, you ain't Swiss Beats. Who are you? Like, you're literally just like some YouTube.
It's like, if I can't mention her name and no one's gonna fucking know who I'm talking about, then why the hell am I paying?
Why
for
am
this?
I paying $500? That it's like, and like when you think about it, like when you think about just like how many producers are out there, at some point you have to put two and two together and be like, what you do can't be, I don't want to say that hard, but what I'm paying for isn't like the work that you put into it. You know what I mean? It would be like if you went to McDonald's and you asked for like a McDouble, and the person who made it, like physically put it together, was like, it's gonna be $200. It's like, fam, what? No, like you're out of your fucking mind. Like, not saying what you did was easy, but it's like it's something, because I know how to make beats. I know like what you did, so I know it's not worth how much money you charge me for. And like, you're not anybody that nobody knows. There's no telling whether or not this beat's gonna go viral, or like this song is gonna go viral. You know what I mean? If this was Dr. Dre, and Dr. Dre was like, yo, I'm gonna need $1,000 for this beat. Because you're Dr. Dre, I'm gonna drop that. I'm dropping $1K, no questions asked.
And if you're dropping $1,000 on a Dre beat, that's gonna be like a shitty Dre beat.
I don't care. If he tells me, if he looks me dead in my face and goes, DiiTouR, I'm gonna give you this beat for $1,000, and like, I have no reason to think that he's lying to me whether or not he made the beat. Because you're Dr. Dre, I'm gonna pay $1,000 for that. Because you're Dr. Dre. Because I'm pretty sure he charged me way more. But if you're just some like, fucking, I don't want to say it. I'm trying to think of just like some generic YouTube producer name, like
Box Beats.
Yeah. No, I don't want to disrespect you like that. You know? Yeah, like Hoodie Productions. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, who are you? Like, what the fuck?
We're gonna get a comment from Hoodie, like, fuck
wow.
y'all.
Yeah, right. And it's like, look, you can be about the money. Go ahead, bro. Like, be about your bet. But if like, understand that not everyone is gonna play that game. Like, not everybody's gonna like jump at that. And I'm one of those guys who's not gonna jump at that, because now I can do what you do. So it's like,
see, I needed you on my side when I did all that shit. Because I'll buy beats. I'll buy the beats. I'm like, dude, I don't want to, like, let me just have the beat, $200 here. Fuck it. Like, I own the beat now. Like, I'm that type of person. Like, I paid for a verse for, I mean, he's well known. He's not, like, famous, but he's a Bay Area rapper.
Yeah.
And that motherfucker never gave me a verse.
Damn, we want.
you paid him already?
I paid him. It was only like,
I want smoke with you, dog.
Yo.
he did. I seen.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm afraid.
I seen him backstage, bro. I seen him backstage, and I was gonna take flight, but I was like, dude, it's not worth it. Yeah. Like, when am I? Like, I'm over here backstage because I snuck into VIP. And I seen him rehearsing. He had the headphones. He's rehearsing songs. And I was right there. I was like, I was gonna sock his chin. And I was like, this is a perfect shot.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this worth it?
Damn.
Like, I'm about to get thrown out by security. Yeah. You know, all this and that.
Then word around is on you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, oh, you're the aggressive.
Me and my fucking crew.
Right.
So at that time, like,
see,
I just kept thinking about my peoples. You know, like,
what you do is you prepare a diss track before you do what you're about to do, right? Explaining what you did, the whole thing, and then when you take flight on dude, right? Then the song comes out.
Oh man!
And so then when everyone's talking about it, like, oh, so and so
that
swung on this dude.
I probably would be famous right now. You know?
Why did he swing on him? Oh, because he promised us a verse and blah blah blah. Oh shit, he just dropped a song. His name is this. Thinking about, so now it's everywhere. So like, if you were to do that and like safety wasn't like an issue, or like consequences wasn't an issue.
Yeah, and
see, he's kind of known, so I feel like it would have been a bad taste like with other Bay rappers. So I'm like, fuck, that's gonna ruin my whole group's name, you know, like. So I was like, because I was picturing like saying my name, solo grinding, bop, you know, like saying everything, like fucking remember that shit, like you fucking, because it was like a discount. It was like around this time, so everybody's doing like discounted verses and all that shit. So it was like 250, I think, originally like 1,000 or something. Yeah. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pay for a verse, like, you know, I'm trying to collab, you know, like how I was telling you guys, like. So with that being said, so you guys don't think collabing would be good? Like, because you get, like, has anybody tried that?
Be smart about collaboration. Be smart. Yeah. Like, make sure that, like, if dude is talking to you about money before he talks about just, like, you know, ideas for the song. Like, if me and CJ are rappers, right? And I'm going to go, oh, CJ, I got this song for you. It'd be perfect. Or, like, you know, vice versa. And the first thing that I told him was about just, like, you know, the paper, like, oh, but I'm gonna need this if I'm gonna get on it. Like, he sends me a song, yo, that song is dope, I'm gonna need this much to get on it. Versus like, oh, I like this song, like, I like how it goes like this, I could just imagine like it could be about this, what's the song about? And I start getting into the substance before I start getting into like just like actually the pricing and things like that. That's what I'm saying. So in some artists you could really tell, and I would say when you collaborate, you know, do it early as you can, obviously, because you want that practice in just collaborating with other people, dealing with different personalities and things like that. So then if you were to make it to that level, you're not just like thrown off guard about, oh, like I hate collaborating because this person is like, like we can't even like
vibe.
As opposed to just like now, because you've been collabing so long, it's pretty much you've been practicing it. So you know that don't take things personal, or some people are going to do this, some people are going to want this. So collaborate as much as you can, obviously, but just be smart about it.
But has anybody done that? Like collab with like multiple people? Like, for instance, I always hear the Inland Empire versus LA or something like that.
That's like the barrier we need to break down. I'm fucking tired of that shit.
Yeah, so I always hear that, but like, has anybody like gone all over like SoCal, like Bakersfield, and just collab with every single artist and like, hey, I'm trying to like collab? I'm like, has anybody done that?
That's crazy, because like I've never thought of that. You know what I mean? Like I've never consciously been like, you know what, I want to work with somebody from LA, or I want to break that barrier. Like me personally, I work with who I like and who I mess with. You know what I mean? Like, kind of going back to what he's saying, like if you work with somebody, or if you're talking to somebody and you're like, you have a good vibe and you have a good, you know what I mean, then it's like cool, like go along through that. But again, like me personally, I'll never charge unless I'm like Drake level, or I've made it. I'm not charging anybody for a verse, like, cause who the fuck am I? Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, who am I to be charging you for a verse? Like, I love doing this shit, so this is what I'm doing. Yeah. Like, and if I fuck with you, like, I would just want to work with you. It's nothing about the money. And it's the same thing with like where you're from. Like, the last show we did, we met up with. Have you guys heard of Jaden Navy? Shout out to Jaden Navy. Nah. He has a really big following in the Bay, and like we met up cool.
That
like
dude that didn't pay you for that verse, right?
Nah. Could you imagine? Jay Navy.
He's a stand-up dude. But like, just talking to him and just like he's real cool, and like he was just like, yo man, whenever you want to work, let's work together, man. Like, you're dope. Like, let's work. And like, those are the type of people that like you can kind of get it, especially when like you sit down and you talk and it's just about music, and it's like you can really have that good conversation of just like, yeah man, like I've been doing this for this long and blah blah. Like it's a cool vibe. But like he said, if you're already asking for money, or like I've never had that problem with just like, well, I only work with Inland Empire artists. Like, nah man, like if I run into you, we talk, we're cool, I want to work with you, like sure. Like, it's always been that way.
Yeah, and just so my message doesn't get sort of like confused or anyone misinterpreting, I'm not saying that like you have to like just disregard your money completely, right? Because obviously like this is a business, right? It's a music business, so you do want to make sure your business is right. But all I'm saying is, right, if when you go to record the song, or like when you talk about collaborating and stuff, the collaboration, the body of work itself, whether it be a song, an EP, whatever, should obviously come first. But like show an interest in that before you start talking all crazy like, oh, I charge, $800 for verses and things like that. Just be like, hey, we're gonna do the splits, let's just do it 50-50 because we understand that we're both in this. So just like split everything 50-50. But the minute you start being like, oh, well, I provided the beat and I did this, so I think I should get 80. Like when your greed starts to come out, you know what I mean? That's what's going to turn this person off to collaborating with me ever again.
Because again,
I mean?
like I'm not, again, not to sound cocky, but I don't need to work with you. Like I don't need your verse. I don't need like, especially even like, cause it's funny. I ran into that problem with the singer. Cool. I've known her for a little bit. Like we like, and then I was like, yo, I'm working on some new stuff. Like I got this idea. Like I think it'd be cool if you bought. And she was just like, yeah, that's gonna be like 300 for, you know what I mean? I was just like, damn, yo, what? Like it's like, and then I was like, all right, for sure, cool. But like, so to me, I'm like, oh, I can sing too. I don't need you to do that. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know what I mean?
And you know other female singers,
right? Yeah. So it's again, it's just like, it's not like I don't look at collabing with you as what you can do for me and what you're like. If I work with you, your fans are gonna like me or blah. Like it's literally because like I fuck with you as an artist. I think you're cool. Let's work. You know what I mean? If not, then cool. I'll go somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like
so yeah, because if you're a shitty person, it's like everyone you work with is going to have that opinion of you. So you take that just that bad taste that you left in my mouth. Now multiply that by like 20 people that you work with after me. Eventually, word's gonna get around, and then you're not gonna be. Or you shouldn't be surprised when nobody wants to work with you because, oh, I heard, oh, you're so-and-so. Oh, I heard this. I heard this. And then it's just going to come back to bite you in the ass. So
personally, me, I just feel like I don't mean to be the devil's advocate on this right here, but it's like two things that go along with that whole thing right there. Like such as, you know, like charging for verses and whatnot.
Right.
You know, if you look at an artist from the Inland Empire, Triz don't do nothing for free. Well, I don't know. He does something for free, but like he will charge.
Right.
But it's fair. Well, at least on his end, because he's actually has, you know, hundreds of thousands of streams on almost every song.
Right.
So like the you know, I hate to say the word, but the clout is there.
No, for sure.
And let alone like the skill. And if you're, you know, if you could go toe to toe with him on a track, okay, that's money well spent.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
And I totally agree with that. Like if you have a big following, then you have the right to charge. Like I feel like then it's like it makes sense. Like I'm not going to go to Cam Gnarly and be like, yo, like I'm not going to charge. Like I'm not going to pay for like no, you got your following. You're big. Like you deserve to charge. That I understand. But like if you on the same level as me. Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying.
I ain't got like a big following like that. You ain't got a big following. You like 300 for a verse. I'm like,
it's like that. What was it? That little voice in San Diego shit I heard about. Man, fuck you guys. Fuck those dudes.
What's that?
But
man, I let them tell the story, man. They told me the story.
Oh, yeah, there was.
And I'm the one only saying fuck you guys.
No, I'm saying it too.
DiiTouR and me.
I'm saying it too.
Tony AWDBALL, DiiTouR saying fuck you guys.
These guys didn't really, understandably so. But for me, it was a pretty cool experience. Like. There was this talent show, this little competition in San Diego called like The Voice of San Diego.
Okay.
And we went and did that, and I performed for the first show to qualify to get to the finals. I got to the finals, and then I ended up losing. Like there was a couple of people.
Okay. So it's like a competition.
Yeah, it was like a competition thing, right? But
this guy is denying it. I'm just saying.
The judging and like the setup of everything was kind of, you know what I mean. And then like not to like shit on any of the talent and stuff like that, but like a lot of the times or throughout that show, I think they overlooked like stage presence or like just like how you rock a crowd or things like that, and kind of just let other things slide, and kind of like they just, these two didn't like the judging and of all of it. But it was the first time I got on stage and performed in front of like people. It was like my first like show.
Oh shit.
So like for me, I gained a lot from it. You know what I mean? Like I had a good time doing it and stuff like that. But you know, I think these guys, because they ride for me. You know what I mean?
Not even about right. I'm unbiased as hell, to be honest.
Everything CJ said, I totally agree with. Because I remember having that conversation with him. It'd be a great opportunity just to get in front of. So that part I totally agree with. My issue was, all right, so you're gonna call it The Voice of San Diego. Now, anybody who, watches The Voice, right? They told us on like the first day, they're like, we're not affiliated with The Voice at all. Okay, so you use their logo. That was my issue. It's like you bring all these artists here thinking like, oh, you guys are affiliated with the Voice, but you're not. So you're fraudulent, right? That was strike one, right? Strike two was the day one, right? You had the judges, right? And they were just like, and maybe it's just me, just like some people just rub you the wrong way when they go to like introduce themselves. And so like with these guys, as they're explaining the judge panel, they're introducing themselves, going through all their little things. And they're like, oh yeah, I produce stuff for so-and-so. I produce something. Like they make themselves seem like they're bigger than they are. You know what I mean?
But they can't afford their own name.
Yeah, but it's like you're here though. It's like what are you doing? Like, but anyway, you're just trying to make everyone like, I guess, try to thirst for your attention, right? You're trying to like validate yourself. That's kind of how I see it, but maybe that's just me being a hater. So I'll shoot them bail for that. But strike two for me was you had some people here that don't follow the genre because they split it up by genres, rap night, rock, whatever the hell, right?
Yeah.
So you had people here that had nothing to do with hip hop. They couldn't tell you. You know what I mean? What a verse is, who Jay-Z was, they don't know anything about hip hop, but you have them judging this hip hop pen, right? Man. And then that was strike two. So now you have these people that have nothing to do with rap and they're judging a rap competition. Make that make sense. Yeah. And so strike three for me was the results. So like how you would win. It was like half of it was based on the judges' decision. So like who you got the scores and all that.
Oh yeah.
And then the other half, which arguably is more weighted than the judges' decision, is how much you can get your social media following to pay for votes. So say like I paid $10 to you share a link saying, oh, vote for me for this, and then I paid $10. That's 10 votes. Yeah. So now it's like you, the artist who went and performed and the judges loved you and all that. You have to go on social media and pretty much promote yourself and be like, and pretty much pay for votes. And that is going to be weighed. That's going to be part of like the result of who wins the competition. So now it has nothing to do, because the people that we saw there, they were so talented. And there was this one guy, I when I saw him perform, it was like some dude from Jamaica or some shit like that. When I saw him perform, I was like, yo, like, for a minute, I was like that put some fear in my heart. I was like, yo, like if anybody, and maybe this is me being biased too, I was like, if anybody is going to compete with CJ, like it's going to be down to these two because there's just no fucking way anybody watching this competition would be like, it's not going to be these two.
And it was fucked up because like he can sing his ass off, and he brought the fucking room down, and then they told me, all right, you're after. I was like,
this dude absolutely killed it, and I don't know his name, and I'm sorry I can't shout
out King Danny.
Oh, that was his name?
King Danny?
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that was, bro, I was like, CJ, yeah, this dude.
Yeah, I think there was a moment we looked at each other, we're like,
I was like, it's going to be you and him because you have your songs down pat, and because like the things that the kind of energy, the stage presence, he has the energy, which was impressive. Like first time being on stage, his stage presence, the fact that, the energy that he carried when he was rapping out his verse, he was just so prepared. You wouldn't think that this dude, it was his first time because he was just so prepared. Like he looked the part out there. And so like, I was like, yeah, it's going to be one of these two. And then the fact that neither of them won, I was like, how? And then that just like that was like, oh, well, this person probably has more social media following, or like they paid more and they this. And I was like, so it really had nothing to do with talent at the end of the day.
Whack.
Like the most talented person didn't win.
Fuck y'all. No,
I ain't kidding. Fuck them.
So that was my issue. But everything that CJ was saying about just having like the stage experience and all that, I agree with all that. So, but I didn't really see that as a loss because I don't think we paid anything. Or no, I think we did pay something to compete. I don't remember what the price was.
We didn't pay anything.
Oh, we didn't?
No.
We only had to pay for like the fans to come in. So like I think I paid like $25. Yeah. So like we did pay that, but like I said, that wasn't big of an issue for me. It was just like the way the whole thing, just the fact that you're using the voice in their like
logo,
like their notoriety to sort of gain. It was just fraudulent, man. I was like, this shit is stupid.
You win some, you lose some.
I was like, they're literally just trying to keep the lights on in this place, like in the studio itself, because the studio was cool, but they were like, they kind of gave us the whole story about like, oh, it's getting expensive and we're trying to keep this place open. So to me, it was just like, you guys just wanted to get money out of us. You can keep the lights on in this place.
Yeah.
So it really had nothing to do with like talent.
Yeah. So
it was heartbreaking, man. It really was heartbreaking.
And if any of y'all that's listening right now, yeah, fuck you guys. All right.
From a fan standpoint, it was just it was disappointing, man.
Yeah.
And they didn't do enough to put. It was really like, and you can call this like a bonus, sort of qualm that I have. They didn't do enough to get like fans in there. Granted, the room wasn't that big, so there wouldn't have been like a lot of room, but you just had like people performing in front of their competition. And like, bro, if you want this thing to be like big, you have to expose it to to more people that are than just make music. You know what I mean? And this is what I say about just like other artists and networking and things like that. Like, stop. Like, if I'm Target, right? If I'm the CEO of Target, I would never go into. Hold on, I want to make sure I get this analogy right. But I would never go into Walmart, or I would never go to the CEO of Walmart and tell him to like share my Target ads. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of times in networking, it gets a little tricky when artists go and they collaborate, because then they're like, oh, I have this project coming out, share it. Well, why would I do that? Yeah. It's like, bro, I'm not like, we're competing, and I can be a fan of you, but I'm not going to be the person to share your music, right? Yeah. You need to get your music out to the people who are using it as sort of like a motivator, right? The people who are on their way to work listening to your music, people who go to the gym and listen to your music, people that are going to the beach, people that are doing whatever they're doing and have nothing to do with the creation of music. Those are the people that are ultimately going to show up to your concerts, right? Yeah.
You're not the people that are fucking you're forcing to share.
Yeah, like you're not going to go to a concert. Like YG isn't going to go to a concert and like every person in that crowd makes music. Yeah. No, there's just going to be a bunch of people that are just like, oh, I heard your music when I was at so-and-so's birthday party and we just vibed out. Like, the people that are drinking in the clubs, those are the people you're selling your music to. So find those people and tell those people to share your music. Stop telling, when we do a feature, hey, dog, I got this tape coming out, blah, blah, can you share it? Yeah. No, dog, get that shit out of my face.
They look at you like, man, you're not supporting me.
Yeah. Why would I? Yeah. It's like, why are you surprised that I'm not? Because we competition, fam. Like,
the thing I hate is when people say that, but then it's like, but you don't support me.
Right.
Like, when I post something, like, you're not going to post my shit. Like, and then you're telling me I'm not supporting you. It's just hypocrites.
And you know it's real when like you post something, you post your project or whatever, and then like the people like you ain't got to talk to post your shit. You know, like those are the artists where it's like, all right, you in my corner, we cool, like I got you for that. Like,
and even if they don't, I'm not gonna be mad.
Yeah, right.
Everybody got a life. You don't
because like it's my shit at the end of the day. I'm promoting my stuff. Like, and again, like it's. I don't look at it as competition. I feel like we all got room in here to eat. You know what I mean? So it's like when I post my shit, it's not for y'all. You know what I mean? And like he said, I don't put my music out or I don't make music for my competition or for other rappers. Like if you are like, for me personally, it's dope enough for me if you just be like, if you hit me up and be like, yo man, that shit was tight. Yeah. That's all. Then I'm like, damn, bro, there ain't nothing else. I like. You know what I mean? Like that's I appreciate that. Like that goes such a long way when you get other artists to be like, yo, you're dope. That was tight. Like, cool. Keep pushing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like respect to that. But all that follow for follow bullshit, dead it. Because then it's like they'll follow you and then a couple months later your follower count goes down and you're like, no, I wonder what happened. And then it turns out all those artists that, you know, that followed you for the follow, they unfollowed you because they want to get their. It's weird, man. It's all for social media, bro, and it's like
I only mess with people that like I've met, I've genuinely got a cool vibe with, and like I keep it pushing. Like, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. So one way I like to end the podcast with is advice. We've been going on for almost 2 hours.
Yeah, has it really been 2 hours?
Yeah, that's crazy. In my head, I was like, fuck, dude. Like, I feel like we could keep doing this. But,
bro, I'm telling you, like, if we can cut,
yeah, we're gonna make it happen more. Like I feel like us four, like even if we're not even just promoting ourselves, just bullshitting and talking about fucking how
I'm down, bro.
You're really good. I'm telling you, like that shit about earlier that Oddball was on about the women, like bro, like I think we've had a conversation.
Dude, I could go for days about women, dude. I can go for days about women. I love women, but I hate them at the same time. But I love them more.
Yeah, man.
So that. One way I like to end is a word of advice on either your field or just anything. You know, obviously you make music, you produce. So advice for anybody that's in that same field, or it can be anything.
Just
it can just
any
be
sort of advice.
Eat good, even life advice. Yeah, life.
Well, for artists, man, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Like as long as you love what you do, then that's enough, man. Like put out that content. Don't stop. Don't worry about, you know what I mean, if people are listening to it or whatever, like, just keep doing you, man. Like, just don't stop. That's the only way your dream can die, is if you give up. So yeah. That's my only advice.
And yeah, and to kind of sort of on that, you know, and we spoke on it earlier. If what you want, have that conversation with yourself early about what your goals are in music, like, or just podcasting, whatever you're doing, right? Like, have that real conversation with yourself and ask yourself that question that we asked ourselves earlier. If in 10 years, do you want sort of like to be where you want to be in podcasting and living comfortably and all that stuff? Or would you rather go what seems safer right now, which is let me go to school and let me, work myself up the corporate ladder, and then maybe I'll have time to do this. Like, really focus in on your dreams while you still can today, right? And just hone in on that, man. Don't procrastinate with that shit, man. Like, center your life around your passion, because at the end of the day, your life is sort of like a documentary, or you're gonna think of it that way when you get to the end of the road, like we all do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then shout out your social media handles. And
yeah, man. CJ Ashley, Instagram CJ_ASHLY 05, and yeah, I'm all over the place, man. Music is on Tidal, Spotify, YouTube, everywhere. My link is in the bio, and yeah,
mine's a DiiTouR where you at. So D, 2 I's, TOUR, and then WYA. Yeah, and same thing. I got one song on Spotify, a single song. It's on streaming platforms like Apple Music, Tidal, all that stuff. Yeah. But it is one song, and I have 3 monthly listeners. So I'm telling you this right now I'm saying this so everybody knows that, like, I'm not like fucking viral. You know what I mean? But it's like, don't think for the way I feel like I got the clout. I feel like, just based on the energy and the work that we're putting in so far. Listen to 909. It just came out.
Yes. It's a duo project that we just dropped literally on Black Friday. Like, it's dope. 7 tracks. It's fire. Nothing but bars, nice beats. Me and my man, we did our thing on that. So definitely go check that out. That's all in my bio. I've been promoting it like crazy. So
and he has an entire back catalog that you can also listen to. I'm talking like Flex, Legacy, all the singles he did. Back to collab, like when we were talking about collabing and stuff. He's got a song on there that he did with a UK producer. Yeah. Like he went across the pond, man, and he collaborated with somebody over there. So it's like,
I like that reference right there. Across the pond. Is that normal? Is that a normal one?
Yeah.
Yo, that's hard.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, bro, like, that's what I'm saying. Go listen to the music, man, because like we're well on our way, and like everyone here, we are all kind of in the same sort of class. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we're all kind of in that place. So keep doing the damn thing.
Sure, man. Thank you for having us too. For real.
Yeah, no problem. And of course, Tony AWDBALL.
Tony AWDBALL, baby.
Odd Conversation. Mm-hmm. Check him out, and know your neighbors. We out.
Yeah, bitch. What you know about me, bro? Working hard in the game, gonna make a name. Leaving my mark, I'ma leave my stain. Better back up, cause I bring the pain. What you know about me, bro? Got Supreme hat, Supreme clothes, bad breezy, fuck yeah. So fresh, we're high class, bro. What you know about me, bro?